I never thought in a million years I could have a conversation with my dad, and I'm the one that's saying, like, you know what? Have I done anything that's unforgivable? And he's like, I've already forgiven you. I love you.
Right.
And I was just like, damn. And
Yeah.
the entire time, but that's that beauty of it. And even when we were in the car and we heard that woman talk, it reminded me so much of, like, how just, why would you put yourself through that all over again?
Sometimes I make mistakes in my life. Life goes on and on and on and on and on. Yeah. Hey, I got wisdom from my papa. He ain't have a lot of money, but he taught me how to keep the perfect posture. So folding under pressure, that ain't something that I'm about to. Crabs in the barrel, I'm just trying to be a lobster. I hit my cousin, told him to call. It's been 12 years and I ain't heard from him at all. Had a little fallout over some money. Damn, ain't it funny how the smartest people be beefing like they some dummies? But I hope you doing swell now. Hope your family well now.
Welcome to Primary Purpose with Pej. I'm the host of your show, and today's guest is Dre. Our topic today is From Chaos to Clarity. Now, Dre is a very special person to me in my life. I have been working alongside him for a few years and trying to help him get on the path of recovery. He was a troubled young man that was actually born in Slovakia and adopted when he was 4 years old, and by American parents that brought him over here to Southern California and tried to raise him. He lived a very dark lifestyle for a long time. He definitely had his ups and downs. He had been to many different boarding schools, wilderness camps, places where they will send troubled teenagers. So from a very young age, because of his rebelliousness and his defiance, he would end up in places like that and just become more and more defiant and more of a rebel. Eventually down the line, he, after running circles around his family, around his parents, he went on to try to live in a different state in New York. And for a while there, burned it to the ground, ended up homeless in shelters, and continued to keep living a certain lifestyle. He also got a lot of face tattoos. I mean, that was kind of what stood out to me when I first met him. And I always, I enjoy working with the ones that put a certain representation on their faces when it comes to body ink. And when I met him at first, he was definitely not easy to deal with. He presented as a person that wanted to be good, but he continued to be a rebel in my life. And so down the line, after a lot of 5150 holds, as in psych holds, as well as psych hospitals and many different rehabs before and after I met him, and more homelessness, he ended up having a turning point and completely changing. And he was a non-God believer. He was anti-God for a long time, very much an atheist, or at least presented as one. I've watched this transformation within Dre that I would love to get into so that you could hear his story a little more expansively. And here we go. Welcome to the show, Andre.
Thank you, Pesh. Thank
Andre,
you.
Dre.
It's an honor to be here, actually. I've been wanting to be on here for quite a while.
Yeah, I just needed to get well so that we could have you here in one piece.
Yeah.
It's good to have you here today, finally.
Yeah.
I would like to hear about Andre. I mean, who are you? Where were you born? Grew up? All that stuff. Go into that. We'll get into the nitty gritty afterwards, but let's hear about you.
Well, I'm Andre, a.k.a. Dre, 28. I was born in Slovakia, and I got adopted, I think, around 4 or 5. And then I've been a Cali kid ever since. And that was quite an experience. Quite a big culture shock, being adopted and then...
Adopted by a Slovakian family?
No, American raised. My dad is from Orange County. My mom's from Orange County. My mom's Canadian, but she moved here when she was like a kid. Mm-hmm. And I grew up in Fallon Valley, not too far from here, actually.
Now, when you say they adopted you and brought you at 4 years old, did they find you, were they over there?
Yeah, they went all the way to Slovakia, actually. They went.
With the intention of trying to find a young child to be able to adopt.
Well, my sister wanted someone to hang out with. Mm-hmm. She was pretty alone.
So she's older than you.
Yeah, and my dad wanted a daughter, but my mom was like, no. They're going to argue nonstop.
We need a boy.
And so it was like a 2-year process. Mm-hmm. They had to go through interviews and lawyers. It's like a whole thing, background checks. So when the time came up, they took a whole trip. And Yeah, they were in there for quite a while until they got me.
Okay.
And then they adopted me, and then I grew up in California, became a California kid.
Okay, and so, and I'll get more into it because I know that when you were growing up in Southern California, apparently my cousin was.
Yeah.
What was she at the school that you went to? What kind of school was it?
She was. It was a private school for like kids with learning disabilities and kind of.
So they had a private school
Yeah.
for kids with learning disabilities.
In Huntington Beach.
Did you have learning disabilities?
Oh yeah, like dyslexia, ADHD. I couldn't study for the life of me. I couldn't pay attention for the life of me. I had to get up. If you told me to sit, I would run. Like as a kid.
And what was my cousin Miriam's position at that school?
She was my principal.
She was the principal of the school.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where she first learned about who Andre was.
Yeah, she met me at 13.
You were 13 years
14.
old? Okay.
Yeah.
And you were a troubled kid in that school?
Yes and no. I think I went through my phases of rebellion, but then I think I was just trying to experience with the culture differences of what was going on. Like I was homeschooled a lot because like they didn't want me to put me in public school.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my first time actually seeing like other kids my age and being around them, and you know your basic 13-year-old, 14-year-old trials and trails kind of thing.
But where do you think your rebelliousness stemmed from?
I think I'm not hurt or still lost by it, but it was that confusion of like, why was I abandoned? Why was I not good enough?
So as an adopted kid,
Yeah.
that's what goes through a lot of adopted people's minds, as if they felt like thrown away, like abandoned.
Oh
by
yeah,
someone.
like I just didn't understand why I couldn't have the same right to know my bloodline as everybody else. You know, what makes me different? And then there were times where kind of incidences where me and my family would have like picnics and family parks, and people who didn't know my family would be like, "Oh, is that your boyfriend?" And then my sister would be like, "No, that's my brother." So that kind of stuff, and also when I first came to America, I couldn't speak English.
Mm-hmm.
That was really hard to learn English. That, you know, the I's and the S and the R's, it was just difficult. I didn't know how to talk to anyone for like years.
Okay.
We had a translator actually follow me around my school because they just didn't know how to communicate with me.
And how was family life with your parents? Were they good parents to you? Did they treat you good? Did you like the family?
They gave me everything I could ask for. Yeah. Honestly, they gave me an education, they gave me housing, they gave me food. I think.
Did they give you love?
Oh yeah. I think they gave me love from their generation of what love was. And then when the new kind of generation came in, it was kind of a clash.
The new generation was you?
Yeah. Of like, my parents are like, we provide, you know, we see you and we give you. But for me, I wanted that emotional stability of like giving those answers. And my parents have done everything in their pockets to help me, you know. Put me on meds, put me on therapy.
Meds for what? When you said you had ADHD, were you on ADHD medications?
Yeah. I think they started putting me on medications quite young because I was very angry. As a kid, I was very angry.
Did you act out?
Oh, yeah. I would just...
Like angry bouts or what?
Just tantrums when I was a kid. Like, if you told me to clean up something, I would just be like, nope, I'm not doing it. And punch holes in the walls, destroy doors, destroy glass, just destroy my bedroom. I just
carried a lot of anger.
Just a lot of hate,
you
know. And then I would reflect it on them because they were easy. You know, they were only people around me. You know, and
how would they react to when you were defiant?
It's interesting because my mom's a marriage and family therapist, so she kind of felt like she had all the answers. But I think half the time it would scare them, but half of the time I think they just understood that, like, you know, with the adoption process, they said this kid is gonna have a lot
of issues,
you know, and I think they kind of understood what they were getting themselves into. But you can't, you know, always expect the unexpected. So I think they took the advice of a lot of good people to try to help me out. You know.
So even being a marriage and family therapist, sometimes when somebody is out in the helping field, helping other people, but it's happening with their own loved one right within their own home, they sometimes feel helpless because they can't psychoanalyze their kid. I mean, they could, but like that
Yeah.
doesn't really help. And so, do you think that she was feeling helpless at times with you?
Absolutely. It's heartbreaking to see a kid in so much pain, and you're doing everything you can do, and they just are not taking it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my dad knew, like, yeah, this is gonna be a wild run with this one,
Mm-hmm.
like good and bad, you know.
Right.
But there were definitely great times, you know. Me and my dad used to go to car shows all the time. That's one of my favorite childhood moments.
Mm-hmm.
Just being just so proud of him being in his car, or hanging out with my sister. My sister was definitely my first best friend ever. You know, we were just inseparable.
Okay.
You know, and there was definitely good moments in the house as well.
Yeah. Growing up in, the area that you were, was it Fountain Valley? Friend circle. What kind of friends did you start to gravitate towards?
I didn't have really that many friends as I was growing up.
Were you a loner?
Not so much. I just always wanted to be around my sister because I felt safe, and I just didn't know how to interact with kids.
Okay.
You know, Orange County is very, I would say, like, very particular, and I kind of felt like an outcast my whole life.
Okay.
You know,
Did you start experimenting with drugs at a young age?
I think it was right around when turning 18, 17.
Oh, so
Quite kind of old.
like
You know.
kind of like a late bloomer for the average person that gets into
well, my parents did everything they could to protect me. I spent most of my times in boarding school in Utah and like wilderness treatment programs, so I didn't get that freedom to do it. So
Wait, so sometimes when people are teenagers and they get sent to wilderness camps, let's say in Utah, it's because they have behavior problems. Was that why you were sent?
yeah, I was sent mostly for mental problems. You know, I was
Acting out.
well. I've been a cutter my whole life.
Okay.
You know, cutting was definitely one of my first addictions.
Let's talk about that a little bit. When a person cuts themselves, first of all, they're not cutting themselves to kill themselves.
No,
Right.
no. I think it honestly depends on the person. Some people do it for a cry for help. Some people are trying to get that attention, be like, this is how much pain I'm in. Some people even do it for revenge. I just did it because I hated myself and I wanted to feel something better. And
It's a very psychological act.
Yeah.
It sometimes is done to alleviate internal pain.
yeah, and I would just cut all over my body. You know, I would just, yeah, my parents would find razor blades in my bed. I would sleep in my blood. It was just out of control.
Right. Now, when you went to these wilderness camps, did you end up having any kind of trauma that happened there?
Oh, yeah.
Talk about that.
Well, imagine being in a wilderness for 125 days, in snow during winter, hiking up to 15 miles a day with 70 pounds, 80 pounds back on your back, and not knowing what is going on. Sometimes I feel
Why do you
like
think they did that to people?
I think that around that time, it was the start of because there's actually programs where you can hire people to get your kid in the middle of the night, put him on a plane, and
Yeah.
put him into treatment.
It's
And
because a parent is,
they just didn't know what to do.
well, also
you know.
parents are allowed to do that. That's
Yeah.
why the two goons will show up and
Yeah.
they'll get you when you least expect it and say, we're going to treatment.
And when I went there, I had no idea what was going on. I thought it was a normal rehab, but they're like, no, you're going to be out there. You're going to be living there. And that was, I dissociated so much of it that I only remembered that it happened not every single day,
Okay.
you know. And then when I got out, they put me in a boarding school for 2 years, Discovery Academy in Provo, Utah.
And what was the point of going to boarding school? Just to be away and go and figure it out and be more organized and I don't want to say institutionalized, but
Yeah.
in an institutional setting to where you are learning to walk a straight path, become educated. It's more organized to try to organize your life. Was that the point of that?
I think, well, my dad wanted me to be there till I was 18. I went there around 15 and 16.
How did you feel about going to boarding school?
Oh, I was pissed. I was so mad.
Did that make you Did your resentment start brewing towards your parents?
Oh yeah, I remember. Oh yeah, I felt I was being thrown away all over again. I was bullied nonstop the whole entire time there.
So you were bullied in boarding school.
Oh yeah.
Why were you bullied?
I just was the oddball. Quiet, didn't really talk. I would always just listen to music. I didn't really want to be around anybody.
You were allowed to listen to music?
Yeah, or like we would have like a little radio that we can carry on, like portable radio, and I just was dissociating the entire time. Mm-hmm. It felt like I was just being abandoned all over again. So when I came back, and I got that freedom, I just went balls deep.
Did you have it in your mind? Like, did you feel like you suffered from abandonment issues from the gate, like right when you were a kid? Like you felt like you've always been abandoned?
I think that feeling has always been there, yeah.
How did you perform in boarding school?
Pretty bad. Bad.
No good grades?
Well, I had I think I did my basic learning, with tutors and stuff, but I was more or less just in pain the entire time. I just didn't know what was happening. I just didn't understand what was happening. Everyone kept saying like, "What's wrong with you?" And I kept saying, "I would love to know." Mm-hmm. So it was kind of hard to have a kind of a thing on you, be like, "What's wrong with you? Get better." But
okay, so after boarding school, what'd you do? You come back to California?
yeah, I went back to California.
Did you stay with your parents?
Oh yeah, and then we went back to school.
Back to school as in college?
No, high school.
I thought you were there till you're 18.
That was my dad's plan. My mom's plan was to let's get him back home, let's put him into school and give him that normal childhood, But I think my dad knew, once he's 16 and 15, he's in that pure rebellion stage and he needs to be guarded.
Okay.
But my mom wanted me to have my freedom and.
So then when you came back and you were with mom and dad, were you doing drugs again?
No, I actually never done drugs until I left.
Until you left your parents' house?
Mm-hmm. Until my last year of high school is when I started doing drugs.
And that's after you left.
Mm-hmm.
And after you left, where did you go live?
I went to my mom's place, my mom and dad's place in Fountain Valley. We left boarding school and then they took me back home.
No, but I mean after your parents' house, because you said you didn't start doing drugs until you left.
Oh, no. Like I didn't start doing drugs after I left the
boarding school.
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So what were you getting into?
Well, everyone starts with weed.
Uh-huh.
I didn't even know how to smoke it at 17 or 16.
Okay, and then?
And then it started going into drinking, and then ecstasy, and then shrooms, peanut butter and jelly shrooms. Mm-hmm. And then probably when I went to New York, that's when the real kind of stuff kicked in, in 2022.
And why did you go to New York?
I went there because I had a really traumatizing event, and I wanted to run away because I didn't know what happened.
In California?
I had a friend that I knew,
mm-hmm.
and he lived in New York, and he was like, "Why don't you just come out here?" And I told my dad, I was like, "Just buy me a plane ticket to New York."
And he did?
Yeah.
And then you went and stayed with your friend?
Yeah, and I was there for 2 years.
And didn't you end up homeless in New York?
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a falling out with your friend?
Yeah, because the drugs were I was getting out of control with the drugs, I would start stealing money from him. I would start doing a bunch of stuff, robbing, doing whatever petty, pawning just to make ends meet.
And when you were homeless there, was it in shelter homeless, street homeless?
Shelter homeless.
So you lived in shelters, was it in Queens?
Downtown, downtown Queens kind of area. And then Dykeman, Bronx area.
Okay. So let's talk about your tattoos.
Okay.
So there's in this day, people have gotten face tattoos and tattoos for centuries.
Yeah.
Right. But it's become more popularized. Definitely in the last, I would say, decade, I have seen a lot more of the youth. I was coming back from Chicago 2 days ago. I was on a bus going to an Uber at LAX, and I was standing next to a couple, and they were speaking in French. They were young. The girl was really pretty, and the boy was really pretty too. I don't know if they were a couple or if they were just friends, but just the girl's face was just tatted up, like really beautiful face, right? And I thought to myself, wow, like she had faith written right here, and all these different things. And I know that there's a certain type of representation that some people have when they put face tattoos on their face. They want to represent themselves in a certain way. There's statements to be made about tattoos. But what's the psychology before for your own sake, like for your own self? What is the psychology like? When did you first start getting tattoos on your face?
Well, I think people who get face tattoos kind of have the same thing in common. It's kind of what you say. You're like, pay attention to me, but don't talk to me. Mm-hmm. And it's that whole like, I'm different, you're not. And I did tattoos because I thought, one, I wanted to get the girls. I think everyone's just gonna admit that.
Yeah.
And second, I wanted to rebel. I wanted to like piss off my parents. I wanted to be like, this is what you did to me. This is.
So it's a form of rebelliousness.
Oh yeah, but it's.
And when you're getting that, like you think when mom and dad see this, they're going to be really let down or pissed or what?
Oh, my dad was heartbroken. My dad was devastated.
When you're getting the face tattoo, like the first one that you're getting, do you like have a thought that goes through your head like, this is serious? Like I'm actually
absolutely not, because I never thought I was gonna make it till 28. I didn't think.
So you're not even really planning on sticking
I was in my suicidal ages at that point. I just was doing whatever I wanted because I didn't see another day or tomorrow.
Okay, because I mean, we know when we're getting a tattoo, like that's there for life.
Oh yeah.
So later on in life, like how are you going to be presentable if you want to go get a job outside of like something where, like fast food or something like that?
Well, I think it's just another form of self-harm too. It's kind of the same. It's not the same equivalent of cutting, but you're putting permanent scars on you basically. And I think I knew that. I wanted to wreck my own life, being like, I'm not going to work a normal job. I don't want to have a normal life. I want to be different. And I did that very well.
So what does it say above your eyebrows?
I'm sorry, and I think lost.
Lost.
Yeah. I think I just wanted to. I think in that moment I had every single excuse as to reasons of why I've had face tattoos. But as I got older and definitely more sober, I was like, oh wow, that was just another form of self-harm. And
makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
Another form of self-harm.
Now, when did you get those? In New York?
Most of them were in New York, and then most of them were in Cali. When I started getting my own money, and everyone who makes money really young doesn't know how to properly use money. They usually get what they want. I went straight for tattoos because my parents were very, no tattoos. We don't want you to have tattoos. We want you to be successful. So anytime you hear your parents say something positive, you're going to go the exact opposite way, especially in your rebel phase. So yeah, I think it was another version of just hurting them. But I didn't know I was just hurting myself one way or another.
Right.
Because I thought I was like, oh, if I have tattoos, this outfit would look cool. Oh, if I have tattoos, this girl will talk to me. So, but you're just not. You're living in the moment of now, not 10 years later. Because like you tell an 18-year-old you're going to make it till 28, they're going to be like, fuck you.
Yeah.
They're not going to believe it, especially in your drug use.
Do you regret getting face tattoos?
All the time. I sometimes forget that I have them because I'm so used to them. So when I see someone, I don't see what they're seeing. And then when they judge me, I think it's just about me. But then I have to go back into reality and be like, oh wait, I have.
They judge you based off. They judge you based off of what you think they're judging you on, or do they say something to you?
They usually have a bit. I remember one time I was in New York and I had to sit next to a woman, and she looked at me and she started praying. She started saying like, "Please save me, God" prayer. So I didn't realize how much of a natural reaction I get from people. People have already made a whole obsession about who I am, when reality, like, I've never been in jail. I've never been arrested.
Yeah.
I have a clean record.
Yeah.
But they think it's the exact opposite.
Did you never go to jail because you were clever and flew under the radar? I mean, you said you were involved in criminal activities that probably should have gotten you in trouble.
I think I had the best cases of yet. I never got to the yet part.
And it could have happened
It
if you
could
would
have.
continue.
I've had so many chances of getting arrested, and every single time, God was like, "That's just not the way that you need to go." And that's what, and that's honestly one of my biggest fears, is going to jail, having my freedom taken away.
It should be.
It's one of my biggest fears.
Well, I mean, you're on a different path now.
You
We'll
know?
get into that a little more. Now, as far as like tattoos on your neck, and what is the tree representation? I think you have one on your arm too.
Yeah, the tree just represents life and strength, and basically we're gonna be here for the next. You're gonna be here whether you like it or not, and you can leave that imprint.
So does that mean that when you got like that tattoo, the idea of dying young had changed?
I think I always wanted to die young. I think I always wanted to be that edgy, I'm going to die young type thing. And so I just thought, why not just blast myself and live to the fullest?
Yeah.
But then you want to live now. You're not suicidal anymore,
So you came back from New York when?
I think 2024 to 2023 or something around that time.
And shortly after I met you.
Yes.
So when I met you, I was informed that you were kind of you have a dark persona about you, and that you often talk about not wanting to live, and that you suffer from a lot of mental health, depression, anxiety, the whole gamut. So when I met you, I knew what I was in for. As a matter of fact, the way that we met, I couldn't exactly help you at the time, or at least I wasn't in a position to, so I thought. But then the places I referred you to try to get help couldn't help you either. And so then you did end up in my circle. And, we've had a lot of ups and downs, and we've been through a lot of stuff, but I noticed that same thing you talk about, like being in school and listening to music. In boarding school and just listening to music. You had this this thing about you where you would get lost in your music, and you would often sit on a chair and kind of
just rock back and forth.
Rock your head back and forth. And I knew you were carrying a lot of dark energy, right? I didn't know much about you at first, but I started to learn about you within time. Like I could see when we first interacted that you knew how to act right, at least for what it was worth at the time. But then you started doing some stuff to where, you had ulterior motives, and there was like things that I didn't agree with, and when I called you on it, you didn't like that I called you on it, and so then it became a power struggle and a challenge to try to guide you in the right path. Then you went off and did your own thing for a little while, and you lived a certain lifestyle. You went back to homelessness. And I would often think to myself, why, if we provided you such a good place to be able to get your life together, why would you choose to go backwards and go back to that lifestyle? Tell me a little bit about that lifestyle, like what that was like.
Well, I think in most cases, what I've seen in recovery is it's not that they don't want recovery, it's the fact that they don't feel like they deserve it. And
So you thought you were undeserving of
exactly.
recovery.
There were times where I'm like, do I even deserve the 12 steps? Do I even deserve recovery? Do I deserve to feel better?
But you never really even knew what the 12 steps were about to be able to understand what it could do for you.
But that's what I'm saying. I think people are scared of hope.
Yeah.
When you have a drug addict who's lived in hell for a good amount of time, that's all they're used to is flame and heat. So when they go to a cold area, they're going to be like, what is this?
Yeah.
And most of people are self-reliant on themselves.
Okay.
So, and I've always said people who are victims have the biggest egos.
And do you think that you suffered from victimhood?
I think I was a pathological liar victim, basically. I couldn't tell the truth. I would lie, manipulate, and skeeve, but be a victim, so I knew I can get away with it because I made you feel bad. So I used that tactic for everything. And I thought I was in the right because I was in pain.
Yeah.
But when I met you, all my tools weren't working. Like all my manipulation, my skeeving, my lying, it just wasn't working. So I felt like my powers weren't working, so I left.
Yeah.
But I think that was the plot that needed to be seeded. I think for most addicts in a very rare sense, some of them come in the house, they just know that this is recovery. I need to get better.
Yeah.
It took me 5 times for me to have an ego death and let God in. Of being like,
Talk about an ego death. What does that mean to you?
for me, it was that I'm not all that special. I'm not terminally unique. Yeah, as I'm not all that as much as I think I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very much the same as the next drug addict.
Mm-hmm.
And I really just sat in my car one day and I was like, what the fuck am I doing?
Right. And during that time, you were drinking.
Yeah. And I remember I was throwing up in the car and I had all my barf on me and I was just like, what am I doing? You know, like, what am I doing?
Speaking of throwing up, you also had an eating disorder for a while.
Yeah.
And you would make yourself, you were bulimic?
Yeah, I was bulimic for like 12 years.
And the reason of that, did you have weight problems?
I've always had weight problems, but I think I always thought if I have to be, I'd rather be thin and then feel good.
Yeah.
You know, I thought I had to be socially accepted to be thin.
So body dysmorphia.
Oh, yeah. Because I always thought thinness is happiness. And then most of the time I did drugs was just to lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
Ecstasy doesn't make you eat, you know. Cocaine definitely doesn't make you eat.
Yeah.
So I mostly did that just to lose the weight, you know. And, yeah, because I wasn't around food a lot when I was a kid.
Yes.
Definitely in Slovakia. So when I got around food, I made sure I got a lot of it.
And then you would overeat?
I would overeat. My biggest weight was like 300.
Oh, you got that big?
Yeah. I was a big kid in high school. And
is that part of like when you said you were bullied? Were people making fun of you?
They would be like, "Hey, Dre, let's run to the gate."
because we know you can't?
Yeah. And they knew that I couldn't do it.
Wow. Okay. You know? So that explains a lot. I didn't know you were 300 pounds. Yeah. Wow.
I was a really big kid.
So when you were in that last time of being homeless, obviously you were living a certain lifestyle, and then you realized it wasn't working anymore and you reached out. Between then and now, you still had a lot of ups and downs, and we still had issues between each other. And you ended up in psych hospitals. Mm-hmm. You ended up going to certain programs that weren't working out for you. You ended up faking your own suicide, right? And then in the end, you tried to go. I mean, when it wasn't working with me and you, and I just couldn't help you anymore, and you were beyond human aid, and it was out of my hands. You ended up in a psych hospital, I believe, in Long Beach, where they just didn't have a bed.
Mm-hmm. Well, they couldn't accept me.
Why?
They said that I said something to them that they didn't think I was enough of a risk factor or something. And that was kind of the beginning of the end of the ego, because it was the first time where I looked at myself and I was like, I'm actually not the victim. I might be the abuser. And I'm not going to name certain names or anything, but I've realized that how much my addiction has affected people.
Wow.
I've realized like, oh wait, I'm actually abusing everyone around me.
And that was what I had been trying to convey to you for the longest time, is to wake up to how much you are not just harming yourself with all the deficiencies and physical harming that you do to yourself, whether it be cutting or bulimia or all that.
I wouldn't know what to do if I saw my son kill himself for 10 years. I wouldn't know what to do. So I can only imagine
what your dad was going through.
And pay bills on top of that, take care of your family on top of that, be a husband.
Yeah.
That's a superpower that I could never do.
You
know?
So, and I got to say, like, because I experienced you for a good couple of years and saw like this guy is just, I could tell when you were full of shit.
Yes.
I could just tell.
Yes.
And it was bothersome because I thought, he just told a lie. Like, why even try to lie like that? Because that was really sloppy. Really sloppy. So I got to watch you transform into your authentic self, into a Dre that you were meant to be, rather than the facade of Dre that you used to think that you were. And your family didn't trust you for the life of you for a long time. No. But as time went by, and because you had good mentorship and you listened and we try to guide you on the right path, I watched you change and become this person that I was hoping you always would become. And I told you countless times, how much more therapy do you want to do? How many more programs do you want to go to? Why not just try something different? And so you got on the spiritual path and you got into, the recovery world and you became surrendered. And so you then took this thing by the horns and have completely transformed your life. You've done the work that it takes spiritually and continue to keep doing that. You're being of service to others rather than just self-serving.
And taking.
And now you're working and you're making money and you're paying things off. But I've also had the honor and privilege and pleasure of sitting with you in front of your dad because he didn't want to see you and you didn't want to see him unless I was in the room as well as your spiritual advisor. How did that feel to be able to sit with your father and make the amends to him?
I think that's what the best thing about recovery is. The 12 steps, I think, as you'd say, it should be in all rehabs. It should be taught. I think everyone can learn from them. And there was something that really beautiful happened at the end of the session. You left because you had to go. But he went up to Rob. He was like, what is the fourth step? Because I'm holding something.
Yeah.
And I was in awe because I was like, this man is 75, old timer, but he wants to know the steps.
Yeah.
And my dad was like, I'll take you through the steps. And my dad was like, yeah, I would like that. I'm kind of going through something. But that's the beauty of that gift of just I never thought in a million years I could have a conversation with my dad. And I'm the one that's saying you know what? Have I done anything that's unforgivable? And he's like, I've already forgiven you. I love you.
Right.
And I was just like, damn. And the entire time, but that's that beauty of it. And even when we were in the car and we heard that woman talk, it reminded me so much of how why would you put yourself through that all over again?
Right. I have some questions for you. What was the moment you knew you had to change or you wouldn't survive?
I think when I noticed my addiction was affecting other people and I started making innocent people who never drank or drew drugs start doing it. And then I started seeing how badly that was affecting their family. I've had brothers and moms and dads be like, you've really hurt my daughter or you've really hurt my friend. And when I started seeing that my actions are a representation of how I treat other people, that was really scary.
If you could talk to your 10-year-old self, what would you say?
That's a really good question. Stay on your meds.
Why would you get off your meds when you were younger?
Oh, all the time, going in and off. I would honestly say just take the help that's needed and stay home.
Are you on medications now?
Mm-hmm.
Do they stabilize you mentally?
Oh, absolutely. They are. It took me till now for me to understand that I need meds, and they help me 100%. And I'm more in control. I can make a comprehensive thought. I can use coping mechanisms. I talk better. I don't rock back and forth as much with the ADHD. It completely stabilizes me.
What are you using these days for your ADHD?
Lexapro, and I think a couple of other meds that I don't know the name of right now.
Is Strattera one of them?
Yes, Strattera really helps me just maintain.
And that's an alternative to narcotics.
Oh yeah, because so much of it was I was using drugs to calm down my ADHD or my depression or, but I didn't know how much drugs actually make you 10 times more depressed. Especially with the coming off of it.
Absolutely. What's one thing about being homeless that most people would never understand?
It's kind of funny, but it really sucks to have to use the bathroom in the morning. And you got to find a toilet, and you got to find a restroom that's available. You got to be like, well, if I eat this, I'm going to have to find somewhere that's that's an open bathroom. And it's a whole different world, man. People just don't like you sleeping in their parking lots. I've had nonstop security knocking on my door and be like, leave. You know, you think it's going to be okay because it's California culture, but no, it's hard.
Was there a single rock bottom moment, or did it come in layers?
Definitely came in layers. My iceberg had to be pitched. It had to be. There wasn't one moment where I'm like, okay, I'm done. It had to become a gradual, kind of Titanic.
Talk about some of those layers. Like, name a few.
Well, the last time that you kicked me out, like, that was very like, okay, I think I met my match here with my ego. Definitely what I did last year when I was homeless and the people that I brought in with me.
I never kicked you out. I said, this probably isn't the place for you.
Good point. But I would say I kicked myself out.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I kicked myself out.
Mm-hmm.
When I really put my sister through a lot, you know.
You had a realization enough?
Oh yeah, especially with my mom right now, you know, that we've been working on to see her for quite a while.
We're going to make it happen.
But just all of that, just seeing all my harm and just the people that I've hurt, especially in recovery.
Yes.
You know, Rob has been there 100. Like, Rob's my sponsor, but Rob has just been there for me 100%. Like, God put him in my life for a reason. Same thing with Scotty, you know, and especially people in the house. Like, Ryan has seen everything and has completely held me down the entire time, shown me unconditional love. So definitely just seeing that.
For the longest time, you were anti-God, or you were not a believer of God. And more recently, I believe in the last couple of months, you've told me that you now do believe.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
How did letting God in change your recovery compared to every other attempt before?
I understood God when I realized what he has done for me instead of what he has done to me. And instead of looking at it as a victim mindset, because a lot of atheists are very much of a victim. They're like, well, I think a lot of atheists kind of just tend to prove they're right instead of learning. And so when I looked at God as, here's my mental illness, here's my drug use, here's my past mistakes, it's yours, I'm going to do the right thing. And that whole thesis really changed my mind. And I think everyone has that devil and angel relationship on their shoulder. And I think everyone does believe in a God, because when the plane goes down, everyone starts praying. So I think everyone has it in them. It's just up to you to, you know, open that door.
Very well said. What's the hardest truth about addiction that no one likes to admit?
You're not a victim. You're not a victim. I know life is pain. Everyone's going to be in pain. But you choosing to put the bottle in you, the needle in you, whatever it is, you are affecting more people than you could ever understand. And some of them are lifelong trauma. You're just passing your trauma to other people, especially the people that love you unconditionally.
What daily practice keeps you from slipping back into old patterns?
Honestly, being in that house and seeing people come in and out. And just seeing people who are not ready or is ready.
So you see when other people aren't ready and they mess up their lives, that keeps you out of old patterns?
Well, it makes me realize how much we are still in self. You know, how much the world revolves around us. It's instead of the people around us. And one thing I love about AA is like, the more you give, the more you receive, but the more you take, the less you receive. So when I see people just take and take and take and take and take, I see their life kind of simmer down more. You know, we've had a couple cats in the house where they complete act on self, and then look where they're at now, because they're still living in self.
Yeah.
They're not living for others, you know. It's the main reason why we take people under our guidance and rules, because you teach the next man, you know.
Mm-hmm. What's one blessing you almost lost forever, but recovery gave back to you?
Recovery. I think I almost lost recovery because of my own self. And I was a ticking time bomb, you know. I've always said this, everyone's just a case of the yet. You didn't overdose yet. You didn't lose your car yet. You didn't lose your job yet. You didn't lose your girl yet. Everything's a case. I remember we had one guy in the house come up to me and be like, I hate the steps. I hate them. And that was kind of shocking to me because I'm like, you're about to give away hope. You're about to get the best life you could ever really possibly dream of, and it's all for free. You don't got to go to a treatment to find these steps. You can just pick up a book and get it. You know.
If someone is watching this and feels like they're too far gone, what would you tell them right now?
You're not far gone. If you think you're far gone, you're not far gone. Because people who are far gone can't think that they're far gone. There's always hope. If you wake up another day, you're not promised anything but death. So if you woke up today, you have a whole 24 hours to change your life.
What does living with purpose mean to you today?
Living with purpose means you, as I always say, you don't live in your own dwellings, in your own victimhood. And as we say, we don't speak victimese in that.
Yeah.
You are living for other people. As you should live for your family. You should live for the people that hold you down instead of acting on what you want. And I see a lot of this in recovery when they start getting jobs. Like, I got to get the car. I got to get this. I got to get that. No. Money is always going to be there. But you got to start taking care of the people around you. And when you start taking care of people around you, it takes care of you.
Love it. Dre, do you think at this point in your life you have a purpose and you know what your purpose is? And what is it if you know?
I think my purpose is obviously continue being in AA and giving the next hopeless man hope. But my purpose is to be a family man. I really want to be a dad. I really want to have my own kids. I would love to have that privilege, you know, and I know that's one of the gifts I can get by being sober. So
that's music to my ears.
I feel like I'm already privileged as it is. I feel so blessed every day. Even at times where I'm in that negative mind space, I look at other people and I'm like, no, it's gonna be okay. And like, I work in the restaurant industry, so most of us are all misfits and drug addicts. So when you see it on the other side of the table, you're just like, okay, I go to a house that holds me down, has purpose, has structure. That's privilege, you know, and I love our house. I think it's heaven, to be honest. I don't think there's any house like it.
So back to the question from somebody on TikTok by the name of Tattoo Teardrops, I think 123. They asked if you have considered getting your face tattoos removed, and if so, how are you going about that?
I think everyone should get their tattoo removed, especially on their face if they want recovery and a better life. Because you want to be taken more seriously and you want to be treated like a man. And I still have plans for that.
How are you going to go about getting them removed?
Homeboys group, I think it's in
Homeboy, right?
Homeboy
Industries.
Homeboy Industries, yeah.
You've looked into that. They help people.
Yeah,
remove facial tattoos.
We were supposed to go. I was supposed to go with Dana, but something's happened. So I have to get some time in to reschedule all that. But I think that's one of the best decisions people can make for themselves.
Okay. Next question is, let's see, from Jesus Pieces. We've got somebody asking if outside of AA, do you follow any kind of denomination, like a religious denomination?
I've been going to church a lot, practicing the Mormon.
What got you into the Mormon faith?
Past people that have left a really good impression on me, and the whole value, the family values.
Mm-hmm.
And
are you going to get baptized?
Oh yeah, that's definitely been one of my plans. I'm still working on that. I think it's almost. I think everyone should start adapting to religion. No matter if you're a recovery addict or not, you need spirituality in you. Being dry.
So this dark force that was within you, now all of a sudden you're LDS, or at least on your way to try to become that.
When you're spiritually dry, it's very dangerous. Mm-hmm. You constantly think about you and be like, "Oh, I didn't get the job because of me. She broke up with me." Something. It's always me. But when you kind of give it to something more higher than you, it takes a load off your shoulders, and you kind of just let life be life, and you just do what you're told, basically on what your values are. So I think people who don't have that, this is a very broad statement, but I think it's selfish if people don't have a God in them.
Okay. Marianne asks, have you thought about educated or becoming educated, going back to school.
Absolutely. That's one of my biggest dreams.
And what is it that you wanted to study?
I really want to be an autopsy surgeon. That's been one of my goals since I was a very small kid.
You want to work on the deceased.
Well, the human anatomy is just fascinating to me. How we know more about our outside than our inside.
Mm-hmm.
And you can learn everything you need to know about a person from their body. And I've just always been really, really interested in that.
This has been such a pleasant conversation, such a great time sitting and talking with you. I was in a meeting this morning and I saw a girl who's kind of fell down a few times and relapsed, and I asked her how she's doing and she said, really good. And I go, I'm so proud of you. And she came and she said, thank you. She walked away and came back and said, I just wanted to come and tell you I'm proud of myself too. And I told her I was going to tell you that too, but I'm glad that you said it. And you should be proud of yourself.
I'm very proud of myself, but I think it's all God's work as well too. I can't take all the credit. I have to give it to you and Rob and the housemaids, because you guys planted that seed. You know, I didn't really do anything. I just did what I was told.
Well, keep doing what you're doing, because
my life got
working.
better.
I love you dearly.
Yeah, I love you too.
Thanks for coming on here.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
All right. Wow, what a great episode with my boy Dre. I think, as far as the topic, from chaos to clarity, it all speaks for itself just by listening to him. The transformation, the evolution of his transformation, and being able to witness him completely change and become the man that he was meant to be is one of the reasons I do what I do. I love working with guys like him and knowing that I believe in all of them, especially a young man like Dre, because I always would see his potential. I would see that he could act right when he needed to act right to look good, but when he actually truly started acting right for his own sake within himself, I have watched him to become a person that I can trust a lot more better now, because I know he's not faking the funk. I would really be surprised if he went in a different direction right now, because his life has truly come back together. Just when you think things are falling apart, things are actually coming together. I told him too, like, this has been such a pleasant conversation, because truly, like, I was holding on to every word. He speaks better now. He not only acts better, he's behaving better. We don't have behavioral problems with Dre. I'm very, very proud of the man that he's become. I think one of the most monumental things was talking about redeveloping the relationship with his family, especially with his dad. I know he's still working on bringing it back together with mom and with the sister, but most definitely with his dad. For me, it was such an honor and a privilege to be able to sit in that room and watch the emotions that were tied up within him and how he was able to express himself and right his wrongs from the past. But just today, having him on was such a glorious moment and happening. And I'd been talking to him for a long time about coming on here, but I needed him to get sober first, and I needed him to be serious so that we could actually have an inspirational story that went into the positive direction that he's living in now. Now, if you like this, by the way, if you want to connect with Dre, you can go on his Instagram. It's Dre Scarlett, DRE Scarlett. You can reach out to him, and he is a man of recovery, and he would love to be able to assist you if you need help. As far as this channel, Primary Purpose with Pej, we are growing. As far as we're on every podcast platform, please subscribe. Please give us a review, most definitely. If you are on YouTube and you're watching us, we want to grow the channel. So if you like this and any other past episodes, look for us, Primary Purpose with Pej. Hit the subscribe button. Please comment in the comment section. We'd love to hear from you. And if you like our episodes, if you like the guests, please comment. We'd like to interact with you there too. And then reshare it. Share it with everybody. Let's keep this thing going until we meet again.